The golf cart brought the two men to the eastern edge of the estate that overlooked the ledges below and the horizon at the far end of the sea. Henry was trying to process all this strange, mystical input. Carlos talked about angels, like he talked about plants and fertilizer. No big thing. And his connection to the animals was really disturbing. Gabriella and Sandy were able to watch people thousands of miles away, and they exerted this power across thousands of miles that could alter the course of those lives. I'm not like them, but I can't escape. Henry watched as Vega strained hard to push some starlight through the cloud cover above the horizon. The bright evening star brought Henry back to that night over 30 years ago on his boat with Sandy. God, we were young then. Carlos crunched down on the footbrake and walked slowly toward the high cliff. The two men stood side by side, Henry almost a foot taller than his wiry friend. "How long you been married to Yolanda, Carlos?" asked Henry. "Let's see, I was 20, so what, that's 52 years, give or take, I guess," the bantamweight caretaker answered. "Why you ask, Henry?" "I don't know. Sometimes it's been such a struggle. Like God has this bait and switch scam he runs on us." Carlos chuckled. "I think I know what you mean, amigo." He kneeled down next to Matt and scratched his back. "You ugly one-mutt, bonehead." The dog seemed to enjoy what he was hearing. Henry continued. "I mean, the beginning, you know. I see Sandy at the coffee place there in Gloucester, in her loose shirt and baggy slacks, like she's trying to hide herself under those clothes. But I can see, I can see how great she looks. That was 85. We were 22 years old. Stupid kids. Each of us lonely, I guess." Lucille nuzzled Henry's calf. She seemed to sympathize. Unconsciously, Henry ran his fingers through the wolfhound's long, scraggly gray hair. "So we meet, we date, sparks fly. I can't get her out of my mind. Songs I never heard of became real to me. All these useless emotions become so large and unimaginable." Yes, Carlos was remembering too. Can't get enough of her. Obsessed. There was a song from the movie, An Officer and a Gentleman. Up Where We Belong, something like that. I had a boom box in the boat with a cassette player, and we'd put that on and dance out there over the water. "That's the bait," said Carlos. "That's the bait. Doesn't take long, does it? Everything switches. The promises go unkept." From their vantage point overlooking the water, they could make out Gabriella down on the ledge where she stood, rock steady, facing the wind, her black hair flagging behind her. The sky around her shimmered like heat off a fire. Transparent, but still visible for miles into the air. A vibrating radiation of energy occasionally emitted a faint ray of colored light, sometimes a pale blue-green, sometimes a pale yellow-orange. Gabriella turned and pointed her bony finger up at Henry and Carlos. They froze in place. The shimmering air around Gabriella suddenly arced over the cliff and embraced the men. "What just happened?" asked Henry. "Yo no sé." The old woman jumped from her flat table of rock, across the wide crevice, and she skipped up the rocks like a mountain goat. She met the men on the lawn, on the highest point of the bluff. Barely out of breath from her climb, she hooked her arms into each man's arms and walked with them to the cottage, leaving the golf cart parked on the grass. The dogs decided to trot back to the barn. My lord has revealed our enemy's name to me. They call themselves the Directorate. They took seats in the cottage's sun porch overlooking the ocean. Sandy joined them. She carried a tray from the kitchen with a coffee service for 4. This Directorate, a powerful league of very wealthy men and women who operate under the delusion that they are the last bastion of true American patriotism, sends out this target list to their 6 squads of operators. They carry out their murderous plan. What they do is they'll select a poor, disassociated weakling and they'll hypnotize him. They'll manipulate their subjects into thinking they kill in the name of jihad or Satan and make the shooting look like fanatical violence, but that's just camouflage. Most of these incidents that the foolish journalists report as Islamic violence are orchestrated by the Directorate. They will kill hundreds in a crowd, but they target only a certain few, just to conceal their schemes. In unison, Henry and Sandy uttered, "These people are evil." "Yes," said Gabriella, "and they're delusional. They're convinced that they're patriots, pruning out undesirable obstacles to their righteous master plan to shape America into a herd of mindless sheep." "Are you the only one that God has chosen to combat these devils?" asked Carlos. "I don't know," smiled Gabriella. "That's my favorite answer, because it's the truth. I only know what I know." "And you can only do what you can do," Carlos finished the sentence for the ancient sage. Henry spoke. "So, Gabriella, let me get this straight. The Lord has chosen you to fight an organization with unlimited resources that can brainwash people from a distance, manipulate their minds to carry out horrific crimes. And now they target us. Yet you don't even know if we have any allies in this battle. Have you any idea how insane all this would sound to any rational person outside this lunatic ranch of ours?" Gabriella looked deeply at her grandson-in-law with what seemed to be centuries of angry power all focused on him. She was casting no threat, just an unambiguous reminder that she deserved the respect of a field marshal and a vast corps of divine legions. "I apologize, Gabriella. You just worry the daylights out of me." "So here is what we're going to do," said Gabriella. And she laid out